Welcome to the Autism Mommy podcast. This is your girl, Steffi Kiss. It has been so long since I have been behind the mic. 2022 has literally kicked my ass, but I'm back and I cannot wait to give you all of this new content. But before we get into today's episode, I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you to go ahead and leave me a rating and a review, okay? It helps with the algorithm. It helps this podcast be seen and heard by all of the autism mommies and poppies that need it out there, okay? I want my voice to be heard. I just feel like this is a podcast that can resonate with so many parents out in the world who are going through what I'm going through. So I just need you to leave a rating, and guess what? You don't need an iPhone anymore in order to do that. You can also rate me in Spotify. I don't think I have any ratings yet in Spotify, so please go over to Spotify if that is the app that you are using and just rate me 5 stars. It's very simple, very easy, and I would definitely appreciate it. But if you do have an iPhone, on top of leaving me a rating, please also leave me a review. Any reviews left on the podcast, I will read in the beginning of each episode, and I actually have one to read today. Today's rating comes from BMA 1010, and it is titled Exceptional, 5 stars. What a unique and fresh concept. Steffi Kiss is articulate, knowledgeable, and entertaining. She has the perfect podcast voice. I can't wait to listen to her next podcast. Thank you so much for your rating. It's truly appreciated. You have no idea from the bottom of my heart. And also, before we get into today's episode, I wanted to let you know that today's episode is actually brought to you by HelloFresh. If you know me and you follow me on Instagram, I literally cook all my meals from HelloFresh. HelloFresh offers delicious meals delivered to your door with pre-portioned fresh ingredients and step-by-step instructions. As an autism mom, my son literally only eats chicken and french fries. Chicken and french fries in the air fryer every single day without fail. He loves it. We don't like to fight in this house, so I just give him his chicken for the most part. The air fryer has saved my life, so he's not ingesting so many fatty oils and things of that nature, but I don't want to eat chicken and french fries every day. So HelloFresh has literally saved my life. I am chefing up great meals. I made beef tostadas the other day, which were delicious, by the way. They have all types of vegan, calorie smart options, and you can pick and choose what meals you want to be delivered to you. You can substitute proteins. You can make them vegetarian. It's just amazing, especially for a single mom like me who doesn't want to waste tons of food. The pre-portioned and pre-packaged ingredients are so helpful, super fast, super easy cleanup. Step-by-step instructions that are easy to follow, and you don't need to be a chef in order to chef it up in the kitchen. So in the description down below, there will be a link in order for you to get your first box of HelloFresh. They are also offering my listeners $120 off their first few orders. So just make sure you check it out. And let's get into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome to the Autism Mommy podcast. This is your girl, Steffi Kiss. Today, I am happy to be joined by one of my fellow autism mommies, Genesis. Me and her met on Instagram because she is a fellow autism mother and an advocate for all things autism. And she's actually also from New York, like I am. Genesis, if you could introduce yourself, please.
Hey guys, my name is Genesis. Very nice to meet you. I'm an autism mommy, like Stephanie said, and I'm also a mommy of 3 other children. So in total, I have 4 boys.
Oh, wow. I know you are busy, girl.
Busy.
Boys are no joke at all, just in general. They have so much energy, and I'm sure they're eating you out of house and home.
Yes, gotta keep up with them. It's too much.
All right, so we're going to get into our first segment, and it's something I like to call Hey Ma, What's Up? And it's just basically where we catch up. I have been a terrible podcaster. Terrible. I literally have not recorded an episode since like December 29th, maybe the 30th. I don't even remember. It has been so long. This will be probably my first episode in 2022. So
It's okay.
it's been a rough couple of months, to be honest. I started off 2022. Me, my son, my mom, my stepdad, we all had COVID. So we were stuck in the house for like, 10 days. Luckily, God knows what he does, because I don't even
Yes.
know how I would have managed having COVID being in Florida by myself. I recently moved to Florida from New York City back in August, and I have some family down here, but essentially it's just me and my son. Day in and day out, it's just
Yeah.
us. So having my mom and my stepdad here, even though they were also sick, it's still alleviated some pressure.
It's a blessing.
For sure,
Yes.
for sure. So that is how we
Absolutely.
started 2022. And then from there, I don't know. I don't know what happened, to be honest. My creative juices, they just went kaput. I couldn't focus on doing anything for the podcast. And I had such a streak going. Like, you guys know, I did 25 days of Podmas. So I released a mini episode every day for the first 25 days of December. So I was on a roll. And I feel
Wow.
like I kind of burnt myself out, maybe. I don't know. But I went into January and I wanted to record and I wanted to, talk about this topic that is so near and dear to my heart. And I just couldn't do it. Um, but now it's the middle of March and I feel like I'm going to finally get back into the swing of things. How was your first 3 months of the year?
So I can say I agree with you. Um, the whole pandemic has been very challenging for us all. A lot of people, got COVID. I have people in my family who had it. Even people in my
Mm-hmm.
household had it. Um, just the kids being out of school, homeschooling. You already know we run so many
Mm-hmm.
titles. And on top of that, we had to be like real teachers, hands on, day by day. And then being that I have four children, that's four different
Right.
schools, four different needs. So it was very stressful. I had to like always keep my head on my shoulders to make sure I'm fine, because if I'm fine, they'll
Mm-hmm.
be fine. So I have to make sure I always take care of myself. But yeah, it was a very challenging year. When they went back to school, oh, I saw glory. It was, yes, it was so much better. But we're managing, trying to get back into routine and everything
Mm-hmm.
normal.
Definitely, definitely. Getting into routine is very important. I say that all the time. But also, you said something that is also like a mantra for me. You have to make sure that you take care of
Yes,
yourself first and foremost before you can even attempt to take care of anybody else. If you're not doing well, then how can you
absolutely.
expect the people who are dependent on you to do well or to be cared for? You know?
Exactly.
Another part of the first 3 months of this year, is I started actually going back to the gym consistently. And that has been, for me, it's always been ups and downs, highs and lows. And again, it all
Yeah.
comes back to motivations. And I'm just trying to
Yeah,
get
exactly.
myself motivated again. And I feel like once I get to a point where it becomes part of like my routine, it becomes part of a habit, then it's easier for me.
Yeah.
I get up, I drop my son off at school, which again, I'm so happy that he went back to in-person school, because that was a hassle and a headache and all types of craziness.
It
It
was
it it
hard.
was really hard. It was really hard. And it's
Yeah.
like just to get into that really quickly, my son loves technology. I don't know how your son is with like technology and things like that.
Yeah, they like
Yeah.
it too.
But when it came to sitting down for school, it was like he didn't want to touch the laptop. He didn't want to do anything with it.
Hmm.
And it's just like, I don't know what to do here. It was
Yeah,
so difficult. So finally getting him into a school, as I mentioned, I recently moved to Florida and we got him into a specialized school for
that's
kids,
great.
on the spectrum. And it's amazing because it's just a small school. There's literally 20 kids in the
Okay.
entire school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
It's
great.
so good. And they're
That's
more
great.
focused on day-to-day life skills and just things like that, as opposed to like curriculum.
Yeah,
Because I don't know how you feel, but for
exactly.
me, I'm not worried about a curriculum for my child.
Me either.
He doesn't need to know who the 27th president of the United States. I don't care. He needs to know how to take care
I
of
agree.
himself. He needs to know
How to be independent. Yes,
how to deal in the real world, you
exactly.
know? Um so that was basically the first 3 months of the year for me. I did want to go into our second segment, which is mommy motivation. And it's something that we have been touching on a lot in the first 7 minutes of this
Yes.
podcast. And it's routine. Because I feel like for kids in general, routine is a blessing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But especially kids on the spectrum,
Yes.
it's like they thrive off of having a routine.
Yeah.
You know, they are an intricate part of an autism family. Could you provide any examples where implementing a routine has helped your child progress or learn a new skill?
Yes. So, yes, I'm very big on that, on the whole routine and being very hands-on with him. And when I put a goal in place, I focus on that one goal and I
Mm-hmm.
just work on it, work on it. I'm very consistent with it till either he has accomplished it or we're almost there, or he knows it very well. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely we do the same thing. It's a pattern. Every day in my house is a pattern. From the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to sleep is the same exact
Mm-hmm.
thing. And that goes from where his stuff is put, the things that he has to get done throughout the day, what happens when he gets back from school, what we have to get done, the time I take him to the toilet for potty training. All of that is routine. It's like an army in
Mm-hmm.
my house. And it comes naturally. Being an autism mom, it's naturally because, like you said, it's like they live off of it. They will
Mm-hmm.
put you on routine themselves because they like certain things a certain way. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually you just get used to it, and I feel like it works very well. It keeps them comfortable, it keeps them focused, and everything flows well.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah,
I have been trying to get Ethan. My son is 12. He'll be 13 in July. So he's a big boy.
big boy.
Big boy. How old is your son?
Mason just turned 11.
Oh, okay. Well, he's another
Yeah.
big boy.
Yeah, he's
Double
getting big.
digits. It's so crazy how fast they grow. But for me, when we moved out here, we had more space. We
Yes.
have the house and he has his own room and, bathroom and all of that. So I wanted to focus on his daily hygiene, maintenance, all of that. That was a
Yeah.
big focus for me. And, every morning, if you follow me on Instagram, then we do the brushing our teeth song.
Mm-hmm.
And for as long as I'm singing that song is as long as he's brushing his teeth. And that
Yes.
shows him that, what, this is how long you have to brush your teeth for. Because before he'd be like 1, 2, 1,
And that's
2,
it.
and then spit. And I'm like, no, you have to actually
Yeah.
brush every single tooth, every side, top, bottom, front.
Yeah.
Um, and then he gets in the shower and I mimic, basically he's in the shower, I'm outside the shower, and I mimic to him what body parts he has to hit, and we count to 10 for each
Okay.
body part.
That's
So
great.
that's become something. And the other morning, I think it was Friday or Thursday, it was recently, sometime the end of last week, I had to leave him in the bathroom for whatever reason. I forgot why. I think I had to get something in the kitchen. I just walked out of the bathroom and I come back into the bathroom and he's counting as he's washing himself. And I
Oh,
literally almost cried. Like, I was just like, you're doing so good, Poppy. Like, I could not believe it.
that's
And it's
amazing.
because it was, I can cry right now just thinking about it because it was so amazing because he's been doing this routine since September, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
He knows, like, okay, mommy's not here, but if I'm in the shower, I'm supposed to be washing myself and I'm counting
Exactly.
to 10. And,
Yeah.
he'll wash himself, he'll wash everything off, he gets out the shower, then he brushes his teeth, and then he knows then it's time to wash his face because little boys be having pimples. I don't know about your son yet, but these pimples on his face.
They do. They do. My 10-year-old actually is the one that's been developing all of this. And I'm like, but why? Where? It's crazy.
It's the hormones, and I'm just like, you
Yes.
have to wash your face, you have to make sure you scrub it, and I'm like, you
Mm-hmm.
have to count to 10.
Yes.
And then another thing that I've implemented with him is I've labeled all of his clothes in his room, right? So we have a drawer for his underwears and his socks, his shirts, his, basically all of his things. And then in his closet,
Yeah.
he likes his t-shirts hung up. He doesn't like
Okay.
them folded.
That's nice.
So they're hung up in the closet,
Okay.
and I have him now picking out his own clothes. Now sometimes he comes out of there looking kind of crazy,
Mm.
but I'm just like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who
Give them the
cares?
chance to, that's a part of being independent too. So that's a good thing.
And just watching him in the closet, looking through his shirts. Like sometimes I'm just standing there, like he's actually there picking what she's
Yeah.
looking. He's like, no. Then he'll go back. And I can see him actually thinking and putting in thought of what
Yeah.
he wants to wear. And a year ago, that he couldn't even put his shirt on. He didn't know what side was front and what side was back.
That's
So it's
amazing.
like all of these improvements, and just he's getting so much better, and just because of the routines that I
Exactly.
have implemented into his life.
Yes.
um so let me ask you, has putting your kids on a routine, I know you said you're like a drill sergeant and it's like the army in your house, has that helped you in your own personal life in any way?
Absolutely, because like every day is a challenge. We have to get out of the house by a certain time, get them to school by a certain time. Everything is like. So
Mm-hmm.
being in a routine, they already know what they have to get done. We have to finish
Mm-hmm.
quickly. So I feel like everything is very organized.
Mm-hmm.
More than if you just have everybody, hey, you're doing this, you're doing that, and then we don't know what time we're getting out the house.
It's
So I've
just
always,
chaos.
and yes, and when you mentioned the whole clothes label that's me. All
Mm-hmm.
of their clothes is labeled. Underwear, socks. It says Mason shirts, Ethan shirts. I have an Ethan too.
Oh.
Jay shirts, Kason shirts. Like nobody can get confused in my house. You know where's your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, absolutely. It's the only way to be able to survive as a mother, period. Whether you
Mm-hmm.
have a child with autism or not, I feel like routine is extremely important. Very important.
Yes, it is very, very important.
Yes.
Do you have like a visual? It's not like I want to say calendar, but that's not the word. Like a visual system where it's like, okay, so this is breakfast, or this is the morning time. We're doing this, and that, like a
Yeah.
PEX system kind of situation.
So I have something in their room, but they're already so used to it that we don't even go by it anymore. But at first,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I had ordered one from Amazon. It worked out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the one that I write in it with a pen,
Okay.
marker, sorry. And I will put everything: wake up, go brush your teeth, shower, breakfast, like everything literally that I want them to have done by a certain
Mm-hmm.
time each day there, and they will get back like, hey, and I'll put like a little star next to it just to keep them motivated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes even at the end of the week, I'll be like, you know what, we're gonna go get something because you guys did great this week, and like just to keep them
Mm-hmm.
excited to because listen, kids sometimes they give a hard time.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's not gonna be easy, but if you can keep them motivated with something, anything, I feel like it
Mm-hmm.
makes it much easier.
Yeah, for sure. You need that, they need that motivation. Like that is definitely, everyone needs motivation. For me, when it came to putting Ethan on a routine, I feel like that also helped me get my life kind of in order as well, because it's like I had no choice but to, like you said, he put
Yes.
my life on a routine whether I wanted it or not. Right? He wanted things a certain way. If he didn't, if there was any change to the routine, it was like meltdowns and craziness. And he's like, "What are you doing to me?" Like, I don't even understand.
Yes.
So, regardless, I had to get myself into routine. We know we wake up in the morning, he takes a shower, he brushes his teeth, he washes his face, he gets dressed, he eats breakfast, and then mommy gets ready and we leave. Like that is
Yes.
just, that's every morning when we get home. He puts his book bag away. They don't really give him homework where he is. His school is not
Okay.
really, they're not really
Yeah.
homework based. So he comes, he puts his book bag away, and then he knows he's gonna have a snack when we get home.
Yeah.
So it's like that's already a routine. And it put me in such a routine that I feel like my house is more put together now. You know, I'm actually more clean than I ever was in my life. Like, not that I was dirty, but you know, like
No,
I
I
was like a
agree.
string in the wind, you know, like I was just like, I'll
Yeah.
get to it when I get to it.
Yes.
But now it's like it's rigid. It is like kind of like a
Yes.
military kind of home. But I've taken that inspiration and put it into like my workouts and things like that. So now literally Monday through Sunday, I have a schedule. My only free day, quote unquote, where we don't have like a strict schedule is Saturday. Because that's
Yeah.
like, I don't know what errands I have to run. I might have to go to this store, that store, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
especially Monday through Friday, I know I drop him off. I go to the gym. I DoorDash until I have to get him from school. And then I get him and it's back to his schedule
Back to
until
his
it's 10
schedule.
o'clock and he goes to bed.
Yeah.
So it definitely has helped me figure out my life and what I need to get done and how I can get it done, just
Yeah.
basically working around what he needs.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what advice would you give a new autism mom, someone who just found out that their kid was newly diagnosed, when it comes to building routines for their family?
So if your child was diagnosed at an early age, which is what's common, it's going to be challenging because you're now dealing with a toddler, and on top of that, you have the autism.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to like kind of work with both together at the same time. And being that you're a new parent, you just got the diagnosis, everything is kind of like settling in your head, mixed emotions, everything. The best thing you can do is try to take it day by day, learn
Mm-hmm.
from your child, because each day is going to be something different that you're
Mm-hmm.
going to learn, experience. I feel like it comes naturally, honestly. You get to your child teaches you on a daily basis. You
Mm-hmm.
learn from your child, you teach your child. It's kind of like a combination. um but definitely, I recommend putting them on a routine and a schedule from very young, because the earlier they learn, the better it is as they're getting older.
Mm-hmm.
And our children are extremely smart. You know,
Yes.
I, to me, it's a little funny when certain people like doubt their ability of understanding things and
Mm-hmm.
learning things, because they're extremely smart.
Mm-hmm.
The verbal ones, non-verbal ones. I've been around many children with autism and they're very smart. They just learn differently, you know?
Exactly.
So don't, how can I put it? Don't doubt your child's potential,
Mm-hmm.
because they have a lot of it. Put them
Yes.
on a routine, put them on a schedule from very young. What time is bedtime? What time you're going to wake up? What we're going to do at this time? What time we're brushing our teeth? Everything. And as they're getting older, they'll be used to the pattern and
Mm-hmm.
it'll be much easier.
Yes. That I'm
You
glad
know?
you said that. Because what I wanted to add to that would be, even if it's not working in the beginning, that doesn't mean that you have to give up on that path or that plan. Because I feel like I've been trying to get Ethan in routine since, he was diagnosed when he was 2.5. So we've been trying to get some sort of routine in place for almost 10 years at this point,
For
right?
years.
And I feel like now is when he's really grasping it, really
Yeah.
understanding what it is to have a routine, taking initiative within the routines as well. It takes
Hmm.
time. You have to have patience.
Yes, it does. Patience and be very consistent.
Consistency is
I
key.
advocate about that all the time. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be consistent. And what I like to do is that I like to take one, clearly you're going to have many goals with your child,
Right.
but I like to take one goal at a time. It can
Mm-hmm.
get very overwhelming for you to teach them a bunch of stuff at the same time,
Right.
one thing at a time, focus on that goal. It doesn't matter if it take you a month to 10 years, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hopeful and you have faith, it can get done. It's not impossible.
That is a fact.
I still have things that I work on with Mason day to day, like brushing teeth. We're still going through that.
Mm-hmm.
He's better than he was a year ago, I can tell you that.
Exactly.
A year ago, I couldn't even like show him a toothbrush. He'll run, crying.
Yes.
Now I can actually like brush his teeth, but he
Uh-huh.
still needs like the hands on and the assisting
Right.
and me pushing him and encouraging him and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very hopeful that maybe a year from now, even if it takes 2-3 years from now, he'll be doing it on his own.
Mm-hmm.
So, you just have to stay on top of them, consistent. Don't give up. Have patience, how you say. it can get done.
Mm-hmm. Don't
It can get done.
apply other people's, timelines on your kid,
Exactly.
because every child is completely different, whether autistic or
Different.
not. They're just different,
Yes.
point blank,
Every kid
period.
is different.
So,
Yep.
don't apply those timelines or other people's timelines on your child. You're going to have to go at their pace. And it'll happen. Like you said, it might be 1 year, it might be 2
Yep.
years, it might be 5 years, but it'll happen as long as, like you said, you stay consistent. That is extremely, extremely important. All right.
Exactly.
So we're going to get into our last segment, which is Views from an Autism Mommy. And this is where I find questions on the internet, whether it be Facebook groups or Reddit posts and things like that. And I just read them and I give my 2 cents and have my guests also give their 2 cents. Okay.
Yes.
So this is a question from Reddit and it says, parenting children on the spectrum. Hello, everyone. I am new here and I was hoping to find other moms with children on the spectrum. I am at a total loss with my 8-year-old. He has ADHD and I find it very likely that he's on the spectrum somewhere. We have done the online assessments. So far, it's told us he's very likely autistic. I've also heard and read that ADHD and autism go hand in hand. So I guess I am just looking for some advice in the parenting department. I have no patience, and my husband doesn't either. The problem is, my husband also has ADHD, so we argue because I'm like, you of all people should understand. I personally struggle with sensory overload, which is where my parents get lost. My son constantly moves around, even in his seat. He wiggles. He also repeats certain sounds over and over and over again. Here lately, it's been 3. It's been sheesh and Hoya. His sister, who is 3, gets very bothered by his constant talking and noise because he is up and at it bright and early. His sister is just trying to enjoy her breakfast and is easily grumpy. He also tends to cry at everything, but especially when we raise our voices or yell. But otherwise, nothing works. We have tried gentle parenting, but then he just walks all over us. Again, I'm just at such a loss because I want my family to get along. I just want him to listen. I just want the constant crying to stop. It honestly breaks my heart because it seems like he's always in trouble and crying. No one should have to live that way, and I know from experience, I just want to break the cycle and do better for him. So any advice would be wonderful. Do you want to take a crack at it first? Yeah.
Aw. Yeah, so I understand her 100% because my son Ethan has
Mm-hmm.
ADHD, along with oppositional defiant disorder, which that's a huge one because it's like for everything on a daily basis with him. I say yes, he says no. Absolutely everything. And then his ADHD was more with
Okay.
aggression. And it took me a very long time. I've been in therapy since I can remember. My kid's always been in therapy, family therapy, individual therapy, like everything that the school offers. So I've always been very hands-on with getting them their services. Um, but it's not easy. It's something that you're gonna have to learn how to manage at home mostly because yes, therapy plays a big part, but what happens at home
Mm-hmm.
plays a bigger part and how things will change
Right.
for the better. Unfortunately, in my case, I had to go through the medication route. And I was one of those parents who always said, I'm never giving my child medication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had to swallow my words. Because then safety concerns
Right.
got involved. And I feel like parents can't be selfish, and you
Mm-hmm.
just have to do what you have to do. He was at risk. He was putting people around him at risk. The school couldn't handle him. It was a lot at home. So, I had to go that route with the doctors. I am definitely very on top of that. I don't allow them to escalate his dosage. I don't want my
Right.
son looking like a zombie. I'm not okay with none of that. So he's at a very low dose, but I feel like it's very more
Mm-hmm.
manageable. I feel like things are a
Right.
bit more under control ever since because it was like that. It was something like I was literally
Yeah.
going crazy. And then dealing with Mason's autism, Then I had more kiddos in the picture. Listen, it's been a lot. But that and therapy, but the whole medication thing clearly
Mm-hmm.
is a personal decision. I'm not telling any parent to go that route. That's something you do if you feel like it has to get done. But therapy
Mm-hmm.
is very important. Maybe family therapy
Mm-hmm.
will work out for
Especially
them.
for the other child, right? Because she's having issues with her brother, so you want to
Exactly.
make sure that that doesn't turn into like some
Yes.
sort of resentment or anything like that.
Yes, that
Mm-hmm.
could bring
Mm-hmm.
another problem in the picture. And that's what I was going through with my third son, Jace. Due to Ethan's ADHD, he was bullying him and like everything was, you're gonna do what I say and things like that. So that was really
Right.
affecting Jace's mental health as well, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
on top of mine. So it's like therapy
Mm-hmm.
helps the whole entire
Mm-hmm.
family. But you have to be consistent, back to
Mm-hmm.
consistency, back to routine. You have to take it serious and be on top of it and understand that
Yes.
it's about your family, you know, and hopefully things work out. Children get older too. He might grow out of it a little bit and, know how to
Mm-hmm.
cope with the ADHD, and things
Right.
can get easier for her.
Definitely. I will say again, one of my favorite things to say is patience. You have to have patience, especially for her and her husband. He has ADHD as well. So,
Yeah.
that's where like difficulties kind of come in because, he's probably getting triggered by certain things. She has sensory issues,
Yeah.
so that's probably triggering her as well. So it's a very complicated scenario for
Yeah.
sure. But, just try to have as much patience as possible. Going to therapy can help you with any like coping, mechanisms and coping strategies for you and your family. That's very
Yes.
important. Um, as far as the child repeating words over and over again, my son does that all the time.
I feel like
It's,
that's normal.
at this point, I've
Yeah.
kind of tuned him out when he does kind of things like that. Like, he doesn't so much repeat words
Yeah.
himself, but if he's watching something on the iPad, he'll literally like rewind 3 seconds, rewind 3 seconds, rewind 3 seconds. And I'm hearing the same thing over and over and
That's
over again.
Mason.
At this point,
Yes.
I don't hear it anymore unless it's like, yeah, unless it's really really
You blur
loud
it
and like
out.
in my ear, then I'm like, all right, like you need to lower
Yes.
that, like let's get it together. And it's funny because like when
Yes.
we're out, he'll be doing it for a while and since I'm, tuning it out, I don't even notice, and like people around will be like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Puppy, you have to lower it because like we're outside. Like, I think you're driving everybody else crazy, where you're not home. So it's
Yeah.
just, you have to just try to, like you said, follow your child's pace as well. They may grow out of it. Remember, you don't know if your child has autism yet, but autism is a delay essentially.
Yeah.
So, in a couple of years, everything that he's doing, he may not be doing. He'll be doing other things. So, um,
Exactly.
just try to have
Exactly.
patience, follow your children's cues as far as what they need. You said you wanted to break the cycle. So, everything that you didn't think your parents did for you, do for your kid. Get him all the services that he requires. If
Exactly.
he's fidgety, try like weighted blankets or weighted vests or fidget spinners. They have so many things now, so many things. So
Toys.
just try to do your research and
Yes.
figure it out that way.
Yes.
Yeah. All
Yes.
right.
I agree.
So that's going to conclude our episode. But before we go, is there anything that you wanted to add? Any advice or anything that you're promoting or talking about or thinking about at the moment?
So I have an Instagram, which is genesis.autism_parenting. It's just, a personal Instagram I came up with because I used to advocate a lot in my Instagram. And people are like, hey, I think you should create a page where you just focus on that. Cause like we love the way you just advocate and talk and spread
Mm-hmm.
awareness. And I feel like it can help new parents, parents of any child with any age. I feel like you're a good fit for that. So I'm like, you know what? I think it's a good idea. And I've been getting so many people writing to me. I feel like it's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
If I could take my experience and help another parent out and release their stress, or at least warn them,
Right.
how I wasn't warned, honestly, because before Mason got diagnosed,
Yeah.
I had no clue, believe it or not, what autism was. I learned that with time. I
Mm-hmm.
learned the reading, researching, and with him. So if I could just like give heads up to another parent, hey, this is what you can expect, and these are the things that you could
Mhm.
try, so it could like be more smooth for you, then why not? It makes me feel better, you know? So right now I'm just really focused on that
Okay.
Instagram. I am not going to
As you
lie. I
should.
want to write a book. I want to write a book about my life. I'm starting off at home writing and see where that goes. I'll keep you guys posted. Yes.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that because I do agree with you. Um, our sons are not
Yeah.
that far apart in age, right? So when they were diagnosed, there was no one was talking about
Mm-mm.
autism. That wasn't a thing in social media, definitely not. Like it
Not
was
at all.
nowhere. Um, Ethan was the first person I've ever known to have autism. So, and that's with my whole entire
Yeah.
family. I would have to, explain it to people. People would ask kind of silly questions at the
Mm-hmm.
time, sometimes insensitive questions. It was very hard in the beginning. So in the same manner that you're just trying to spread awareness, that's what I feel like this podcast is
Yes.
for me. I just want, other moms to hear it and know that they're not alone, because for a very long time I felt alone and separated from the
Are we
entire
the same
world.
person, Stephanie?
And I think we
Listen,
are.
girl, every word you're saying, I lived it's incredible. And I
Mm-hmm.
learned so much from Mason and all my kids. I learned a lot. I learned patience. I learned how to
Mm-hmm.
ignore ignorant people, give them a taste of their own
Mm-hmm.
medicine, ignore you because you're ignorant, right? Because back then I was very quick to like, what are you looking at? Like my
Oh
son is
yeah.
bothering you, then cover your ears, like these type of things. And now
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I don't see anybody. It is what it
Mm-hmm.
is. I'm
Because
not
then
gonna
you can't.
change my child. He is who he is, and
Mm-hmm.
it's his world. My job as his mom is to teach the world how to understand him. So
Yes, I love that. I love
yes.
that. All right. So your Instagram will definitely be linked in the description so that my followers or my listeners can go follow you on
Okay.
Instagram if if they want to
Yes.
get more information, see what your day-to-day looks like, everything that you do with Mason. And I do want to commend you for everything that you do
Thank
for your
you.
kids.
You too. You
I
too,
watch your
Stephanie.
stories.
Thank you. You too.
And I know it's not easy, so I commend you, round of applause for you because you're doing it every single day. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Autism Mommy podcast, and I will see you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.